Hi everyone, my name's Joe Saunders and I'm here for this 10-minute talk to talk to you about local history. Um, and I've titled this What is Local History? Because I think it's an important thing to think about. We're here with the fantastic All About That Place, which is being run to celebrate a brilliant 10 years of Society for One Place Studies. And of course, One Place Studies and local history are distinct, but actually go hand in hand when you think about the sources we use, the approaches that we use, and the reasons that we do this kind of study. And both one place studies and local history have long histories themselves, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit in the next few minutes. And I'm also going to share some different definition of local history, as well as some different resources as well that you might use as you maybe think about your one place study as a local history. And local history is a particular way of doing history that focuses on a place and its community over time. So we're going to think about the rich history of local history in Britain, and we're going to think about this hopefully with particular interest for one place studies and for everybody listening here, how this might go and help your research. An interest in the study of local communities has developed across Britain during the early modern period by antiquarians who are interested in all sorts of things, archaeology, topography, genealogy, manuscripts. And this was especially so from the 16th century onwards. And we had, for example, in England, scholars like William Camden, William Dugdale. Local history was for centuries really seen as a gentlemanly pursuit, concerned primarily with things like the history of the local church, the manor, prominent families, things like that. And then in the 19th century, things began to change a little bit. And in 1899, the Victoria County History in England was founded, and this was a national project with the intention to write the history of every county in England down to parish level. The Victoria County History continues to work on these encyclopedic histories of each county, and there are 120 odd years in, and they've still got some way to go. And that's that's not to dismiss the amount of work that's gone into this already, but just to say how much local history there is across England, let alone everywhere else. And again, thinking about England, that's where my particular interest and background lies. From about 1900, we start seeing the first academic positions on local history in British universities. And we start to see in the early part of the 20th century, academics using local history as a lens through which to study particular problems, and particularly economic studies. And around 1950, we see a change again. We see the establishment of the Centre for English Local History at the University of Leicester, and we start to see other things as well. The Amateur Historian, the journal, was set up in 1952, and in the 60s it became the Local Historian. We also see the establishment of county record offices, local history societies, and people doing local history in a much more democratic way. And in Britain, this leads to the establishment of the British Association for Local History in the 1980s, and that's the organisation that I'm here today representing. Local history connects us with the past through place, and it can be done in many forms, from a town or a parish down to a village or even a street. But at its heart, local history is community history, and it's a consideration of humans and our environments over time. The mixing of people and place together, I think, is particularly powerful. Together, these have combined to produce changing particular historical experiences. In other words, local history is primarily about the origin and the growth of communities, and about how and when and why those local communities changed. And I'm paraphrasing there an excellent historian, Kate Tiller, who wrote a fantastic book on English local history. And at the end of this talk, I'm going to share some details on further reading for you, and that is on there. So I definitely recommend looking that up. There are various organisations with which you can access local history and local historians, and you can join like-minded individuals. You can go to talks, you can read newsletters and blogs and journals and that kind of thing. You've got something like the British Association for Local History, and I've done a separate talk on what BALH is, that you can listen to as part of All About That Place. You've got things like the Society for One Place Studies, which if you didn't all know about before now, hopefully you do at the end of this wonderful event. Other societies like the Local Population Studies Society, Thatcher's, the Family and Community Historical Research Society. You've also got local history societies as well. So thinking about in your own town or village, as well as regional societies, which maybe have a more antiquarian archaeological slant, but lots and lots of different groups that you can get together with as well. And it's worth checking them out for the resources that they might have and the community that they might be able to provide to you to help you along the way. And of course, in return, you can share your research with people and they can help you. And it's always nice to, as nice as it is to do the research, it's always lovely to share the research as well and know that other people enjoy and learn from it as well. And there are lots and lots of resources that you can do you can use for local history. Many of these sources that you'll be familiar with already, that you'll use as part of your family history, as part of your One Place Studies research. But you've also got other things that you can use as part of this as well, things like maps, lots of sources that are contained within local history societies. And I would definitely recommend going and wherever you are in the world, looking up what local history books there are for your town, for your village, for your region, even considering how to do local history in your country, for example. So if you're in France, is there an excellent book on local history in France or the particular area of France that you're in, for example? And particularly, I really want to reinforce the resources that local history societies have. And I've mentioned this a couple of times now, but your local history society or even your local family history society will have lots and lots of transcripts and books, all sorts of things on microfilm. They'll quite often have that wealth of knowledge that is just contained within people's heads. So you never know what you'll get, and no two societies are the same. So it's really worth going and checking this out. And I just want to consider why we do local history, because for me, there are lots and lots of different reasons to do local history. And while there's lots and lots that we can say, I think particularly for the purposes of this talk and for all about all about that place, local history can add a real context and colour to your One Place study. And a One Place study, of course, focuses on the individuals, on the community, on the families, and quite often we do the One Place studies because we have an ancestral connection to that place. But how does place-based research become local history? And I think the reason to do local history for a One Place studies perspective is to add that context and colour and to really dive into what the local economy was like, what the landscape was like, what buildings were like, and all of those other things around the people that are, of course, at the heart of your One Place study. And I have written a blog, actually, which is up here on this list of further resources. So you can go away and have a look there. Why do local history? And you can read some other reasons for doing local history there as well. I've also written a blog on the blog that I co-edit on English local history, which is an introduction to the history of local history, if that interests you. Go on our BALH website and hopefully learn something there. And please do consider joining BALH as we can help support you with your British local history. One of my favourite books that's a good introduction to English local history is Kate Tiller's English Local History, which is there. And I also run 2 courses for Pharos Tutoring, and those are 2 short 4-week online courses on local history. And there I can help you with learning all about local history, different resources and approaches, and hopefully I will see some of you there. So thank you very much for listening into this short whistle-stop introduction to what is local history for One Place Studies. I hope you found something interesting there. And please do go away and think about how your One Place study might become a local history as well. Thank you very much.